Thank you for joining us on the radio with a difference. The Guyana government failed to protect itself from the front-loaded costs in its oil and gas contracts signed with ExxonMobil and its partners, and as such, receipt of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars due to Guyana will be held back within its 2030s. This position has since been espoused in a recent report on Guyana's oil and gas sector's economics done by Tom Zanzelo, the Director of Financial Analysis at the Institute of Energy Economics and Financial Analysis. Zanzelo drew reference to the fact that the International Monetary Fund has issued a warning, and the IHS Markit, a global oil and gas service company, has concluded that Guyana is receiving a below-average take from the contract. According to Zanzelo, the government of Guyana gave away important protections when it agreed in the contract to postpone payments of its profits to encourage more exploration of oil. He pointed specifically to the fact that it failed to include a ring-fencing provision and explained that in effect, the lack of such a provision means the contract is able to charge Guyana for the cost of new wells before they start producing oil. To this end, Zanzelo conclude it is unlikely that Guyana will receive annual payments in the $6 billion range until well into 2030s, if at all. We tell you now that Guyana in 2016 inked a production sharing agreement with Esso and their partner Hess Guyana Corporation and the China National Offshore Oil Company. Under that agreement, Esso, commonly referred to as ExxonMobil Guyana, is allowed to recover up to 100% of its exploration and other costs by deducting proceeds up to 70% of the production from the Stabroek Block. Among the support services being utilized by ExxonMobil Guyana relate to the rental of up to 24 supply boats. Research by Kaieteur has found that when it comes to the price being charged and recovered by ExxonMobil, the country is in fact losing out in the excess of $1 million daily on the supply of this single service for the operation in the Stabroek Block. Guyana currently pays in the vicinity of $55,000 per day for the rental of these vessels. As such, it would mean that the cost of renting each of these vessels amounts to just under $20 million multiplied by 24. It would mean Guyana pays almost $480 million annually for the rental of these boats. Neighboring Suriname and Trinidad and Tobago are also engaged in offshore oil and gas activities that required such supply vessels. Their costs, on the other hand, are lower than that being paid by Guyana. We tell you now that pilot thanked God for life after passenger escapes with minor injuries. A pilot, Leary Barkley, yesterday thanked God for his life after the aircraft he was piloting with a co-pilot and 3 passengers on board experienced some mechanical difficulties and crash-landed in a swamp located at the Eccles Backlands on the east bank of Demerara. The plane Barkley was piloting, a Britain Norway owned by Roraima Airways, had reportedly experienced mechanical difficulties and it was approaching the Ogle Airport after returning from a trip to Region 7. As a result, the plane was forced to crash and land around 11 hours 30 in the swamp located in the Eccles Backlands. Residents of Eccles had witnessed the moment that the aircraft dived into the backlands and recalled seeing smoke emanating from one of the engines just before it went down. They even recorded a live video on their cellular phones. Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Gail Teixeira has admonished accounting officers from the various ministries to stop paying workers who fail to show up to work. Teixeira was at the time addressing the Public Accounts Committee, noting that millions of dollars are lost each year because of overpayments of salaries. This was alluded by the members of the PAC. According to information revealed as the Ministry of Health's accounts in the Auditor General's 2016 report were being examined, some $1.7 million was overpaid as net salaries to 16 employees, a recurring issue across the various government ministries and agencies. Former Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Trevor Thomas, told the PAC that the ministry continues to grapple with the issue of overpayments. Thomas explained that one of the scenarios that would lead to this situation is when employees walk off the job or resign at the end of the month, but salaries would have already been paid. The salary is placed into their accounts, and they eventually make good with the sums. The former PS noted that the ministry has made several attempts to recover some of these salaries, but with little success. Hundreds of independent schools left in dire financial straits by the coronavirus pandemic are being targeted by Chinese investors, the Mail Online UK has revealed. According to the report published by Mail Online in March, 17 schools are already owned by Chinese companies, but that number is set to rocket amid rising concerns about the breaching into British classrooms and Kaieteur investigation revealed. The article outlined that 9 of the 17 schools under Chinese control are owned by firms whose founders or bosses are among China's most senior Communist Party members. Princess Diana School is owned by a Chinese group that openly trades on her name. Schools are using educational tools for teaching children and a whitewashed view of China. One firm admitted its accusation of British schools is aimed at supporting China's controversial Belt and Road strategy, which aims to expand Beijing's global influence. UK expert anticipates a feedingly freezing as firms, including some run by high-ranking members of the ruling Chinese Communist Party, that seeks to expand their influence over Britain's education system. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. And of course, you're listening to us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and the 99.5 FM. This is your main newscast. It is time for us to turn our attention to page 7 of the Kaieteur News that is dedicated of being blunt. The GCOM trio that tried to steal an election is now history. We have worse than their equivalents in the government and opposition, and it is time that the same aim be taken to expose them. Just like the GCOM trio, Guyana's senior political trio in government and opposition must be held accountable for their farce's work on the society, no different from the GCOM 3 and be sent packing. Guyanese, this is how democracy works. All are accountable. It is 10 hours 13 Guyana, and right across the Eastern Caribbean, it is time for me to turn my attention to your COVID-19 updates. The Ministry of Health announced that they have unfortunately lost 3 additional persons to the dreaded coronavirus. They all passed away on August 12th. They are a male, a 65-year-old from Region 4, and 2 females, 54-year-old and 47-year-old. The deaths have caused the overall death toll to increase to 573, while the total for the month of August has risen to 24. 111 newly infected cases have been documented, and this brings the number of confirmed cases to 23,455. 16 patients are in the ICU, 80 in institutional isolation, 6 in institutional quarantine, and a total of 8,509 persons are in home isolation. 14 persons who were previously infected have recovered and are in good health, which brings to the total 21,927 individuals fully recovered from the coronavirus. And with that, we come to the end of your main newscast right here on the Kaieteur Radio. I am Joshua Van Sleckman. Thank you for joining us.